Death and taxes, guys, death and taxes. Those are two things that are certain in this world. If you live in the United Kingdom, you would have gotten something like this if you have self-assessment set up. So if you're paying taxes, then you know that the deadline for basically filing any outstanding self-assessment tax returns and paying any tax owed is the 31st of January. Unfortunately for everyone, this also includes capital gains of digital assets. But how do we calculate this with all of the things that we've been doing, the buys and sells? Do we even owe taxes? And there's also been a rule change. The percentages have changed. And all of that information can be quite difficult to wrap your head around. This is why I am making this video, to try and help out some of you guys. I don't know what the situation is in the United States, but also the things that I'm going to be talking about in this video, the particular software that I'm going to mention actually does help people everywhere in the world, because it works in Australia, it works in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, etc. So if you're wondering how to be tax compliant, basically in a few days, we have today is the 28th, that's like 3 days to go, then this might be your last chance to keep His Majesty off of your back. Now, rather than recreate the entire video from scratch, I'm going to react to a video that I made exactly this time last year that helped a whole bunch of people. And I talk about the tax situation with crypto in the UK. I also talk about a free software that I use to determine even if I need to pay tax in the first place. Because, if you don't need to pay tax, then you don't have to worry about actually sending a tax return at all in the first place if you're below the threshold. However, the threshold has changed, so I'm just going to react to this video. And when there's something different about it, I'll just make a comment, all right? So let's get it started straight away.
Is fast approaching. January the 31st in the UK is the deadline after which you might be fined. This year, the government is taking taxation very seriously. I think partly because the governments are broke and they need to harness as much money as possible.
It's funny, the government is still broke. It's been a year and the government is broker now than they were last year when I made this video.
And one of the places that they can make sure that they get as much money as possible is from taxes. That's one of the major sources of government.
All right, let me just fast forward. You don't need all this rambling, to be honest. Blah, blah, blah. Talk about Bitcoin. Okay, how about here?
Capital gains tax. This is where you pay on profits for selling your crypto. So if you sell your crypto for more than you bought, the difference is considered a capital gains and gets taxed. Okay?
All right, that's still true as of 2025. And remember, this tax year that we're dealing with is actually 2023 to 2024. So that tax year ended in April of last year. And, in a couple of days, we're going to get the deadline to pay for that tax. Okay.
So if you lost money and you sold at a loss, then you don't have to worry about taxes because you haven't gained anything. It's been a capital loss for you. Okay. You only pay capital gains tax also if the gains exceed £12,300 in the UK.
Okay, that has changed. Okay, the government has brought the threshold down to 6,000 and then layered on to 12,000. Let me just read what the change is really quickly. So for capital gains from crypto over £6,000 tax-free allowance for 2023 to 2024, you'll pay 10% or 20% tax. The new autumn budget also announces the capital gains tax rates have been raised to 18% and 24% respectively from October 30, 2024. How confusing is that? For additional income from crypto over the 12,570 personal allowance, you pay between 20% and 45% in tax. The exact amount you pay will depend on the transaction you've made, the tax that applies, and the income tax band you fall into. Now, if you don't want to spend your time calculating all this stuff with all your wallets and all that sort of stuff, there is a link in the description to the software that I use that you can see the name on the corner here. You can just go to it directly if you want. But if you use that link, then I'm an affiliate and I get a commission. If you actually eventually need to pay tax and you pay Coinly for a subscription or something like that, I'll get a thank you from Coinly. So that's how that works. at no expense to you, obviously. And also, you don't have to pay for anything. You can actually use it for free to figure out if any of this stuff applies to you in the first place. But you would have to link your wallet so it can automatically decide that for you. When you link your wallet, it doesn't have access to your money or anything. It only has access to view the public information that anybody can view about your wallet anyway on, on the chain, on the database, because crypto is transparent and public, right?
UK, other countries probably have their own allowances in a tax year. So if you're a small time trader or you just hodl and you sold at a tiny bit of profit, maybe you made £10,000, £8,000 in the year, then you don't even have to worry about tax, right? You may want to report it for just keeping records purposes, but you don't have to, okay? So small income hodlers, you can just relax. The bad news, though, is that the tax rate depends on your income band. So the basic rate taxpayers who earn under £50,000 to 170 pay 10%, and higher earners face a 20% bite. So if your income is, say, £60,000 a year, you're paying 20% on your crypto capital gains. If it's less, you're paying half of that. Okay? Again, by the time I'm making this video, who knows? Anything might change, so it's best verifying that actually on the uk.gov website.
Again, some of this information has changed, like I said. So if you go to that link in the description, the website is actually quite helpful. There's a drop down to the right hand side where it gives you the latest information for absolutely free.
Or with a tax expert, but that's the general idea. There are some times that you pay income tax on your crypto, and this is when crypto becomes your career, for instance. So for example, if you're a miner, if you're mining crypto, you've got a little engine set up to mine crypto, that's income, right? If you stake a lot of crypto, that's income because you're earning the rewards, right? And it's a regular reward or regular income. So if you get airdrops, for instance, from DeFi yields, that's income that gets treated as income. These are not capital gains. These are something that you didn't have before, now you have. So when you stake, you get rewarded either in a different token. Say you might stake Ethereum and get rewarded in a brand new L2 token that's sitting on Ethereum, for instance, right? If you stake, say, Avalanche, you might get rewarded in some Avalanche token, some new game or something like that. All those are referred to as income. If you blog on a blogging platform that rewards you in crypto, that's income. All right, so you get the idea. So capital gains is you have Bitcoin appreciates, you sell or dispose it in any other way, you pay capital gains on the profits.
How many of you guys are going to get a Lambo
that you made? If you receive something anew, like in an airdrop, that counts as income. Okay. Now remember, expenses like mining equipment or trading fees are actually deductible. So keep those receipts handy. Now, if you are also hodling on an exchange and you sell your Bitcoin on the exchange, you have paid fees on the exchange. And those fees are deductible from your tax. Again, if you use the software that I've linked, it has all of that calculated for you for every single transaction that you make with the wallets that you connect to the software. So that makes it extremely easy. So I, for one, have been getting emails from HMRC because I think they know that I have crypto because I've paid.
Yeah. And, not only did they email me last year, they sent me a text, and I even got a phone call from somebody because I guess my crypto threshold was triggered some sort of response because I think, they were clear about how much it is. Anyway, let me just, I'll play the bit where I show you a little bit of the software as well so you know what we're talking about here. Okay.
How much detail it actually gives you about each transaction. All of this detail, of course, because, it's in the API, can be presented in whatever format the tax people want, right? So here's a transaction that occurred on the 22nd of January, 2023, so nearly a year ago. This is when I sold some Algorand. As you can see, this happened on Coinbase Pro. Okay, so it's 12,000 Algorand sold for £2,443.22 with a profit of £407.59, right? It also shows that I paid a 0.4% fee. Okay, Now, the fee is deductible, but the API does all of that automatically. As you can see here, it sets a nice little table where it shows you everything, right? Fiat value, that's how much I sold it for. Fee, £9.77, which is 0.4%. The cost basis shows you there and what the gain was. Now, if there was a loss, it would display it as a loss.
Okay, so that's a brief outline. I'll actually link this video itself also in the description. You can go away and watch that video completely as a whole and get more information about the software. I actually do a very good breakdown of the software. I show you the kind of taxes that you can pay for. You can organize the display to suit your needs. It's a really brilliant software.
Any of these countries at the moment, it's available in a lot of countries. Cost-based method, you can pick whichever one suits you, but mine is in the UK, so it picked that for me automatically, and that's the one that we use. Market price or trusted coins, Look, you can basically turn on and off a whole bunch of settings here, as you can see. Treat other gains as capital gains, treat forks as income, treat airdrops as income. So all of these are, of course, by default, yes, but in some cases they might be no, so you can highly tweak those and customize those as well. But you can look at all these settings. Once you're looking for free. All of this stuff is available for you to optimize and tweak to your satisfaction.
Okay, so you can see that as highly customizable to suit where you live and your situation. Not all income is income. Not all airdrops is income. You can basically tweak it infinitely, right? And again, I'll leave the link to this video in the description if you want to go watch that, where I talk about this software extensively. I even show you some of my tax forms that I generated that can be sent directly to the government, which is what I've done for the past, 5-6 years now. So it's a pretty good video if you want to go watch it, but some things have changed, like I've just mentioned in this video, like the threshold, the allowance, and the percentages, okay? But apart from that, most of the stuff is exactly the same. The software works exactly the same. It's just as good. It's just as useful, right? So yeah, not financial advice, not tax advice, not legal advice. Do your own research. You may still want to check with a CPA once you've printed out the results. I didn't. I just sent it directly to the government. It was perfectly fine. Again, but I'm quite experienced at doing these things now. So yeah, good luck. You've got 3 or 4 more days before they start charging you interest and knocking your door. Peace.